Welcome back. So in this lesson, we will see how entity relationship diagram looks and what is the meaning of this and why do we want this diagram. So let's have one example. Let's have an Amazon. Amazon has different tables and different lakhs of different thousands and different hundreds of tables in a database. So how do we know that in which table which elements are there and how these are structured? For example, customer table. In customer table, they have customer name, customer address, customer phone number, customer email ID. And in sales table, they can have which products they have sold and how much money they got and everything. And they can also have employees table. So keeping track of all these tables, in which table we have what data, so it is impossible for them. To solve this problem, we have this entity relationship diagram. It is a visual representation of all the tables in the database. So and how these are related, like one-to-one relationship or one-to-many relationships. These are logically related with one another using primary key and foreign key. Like we can see in this diagram, here marks and subjects are related using marks ID and subjects ID. Both are integers and they are related using one-on-one relationship. Same thing happens in a database with different tables. So entity relationship diagrams helps us to identify how many tables are there in the database and what relationships they have and which fields are there, whether these fields are how they are defined, like in marks table, marks ID is integer, student ID is integer, and student name is character, and first and teacher's name is character in teacher's table. So these everything we get to know from this entity relationship diagram. So let's move on. Now let us understand why we need SQL. Why we need SQL? SQL is a structured query language. The name says it is a structured set of instructions we give to the server so that it can perform its task. It is the communicator between us. Like if you want to save the Word file or CSV file in the hard disk, so we need operating system to save that file. In the same way, it is like an operating system. It is a programming language to communicate with databases. So here we need in by saving Word and MS Excel, we are communicating through operating system. In the same way, we have to communicate with different tables and with the databases. So we use the language. That language is called structured query language. It's a programming language, and it is the way to communicate with different databases. And from this, we can add the elements in the database, in the tables, we can update the elements, we can insert rows, we can manipulate, and we can search the tables and retrieve the data, and we can get the insights from the different tables and different databases. So let's move on. So why do businesses choose SQL over other structured languages, or why? What is the specialty? What is the USP of this SQL? Because I just said that we can aggregate this data easily and it is very intuitive. Like if you want to update a record means just we have update command. If you want to add element or delete element, we have delete. So it is intuitive in its way, and it is a structured command and easily everybody can understand, and everybody can learn this language very easily because it is so easy to understand also. And by this SQL, we can manipulate the data, aggregate and summarize the data. We can have all the central tendencies like mean, median, mode, and standard deviation from the data and how the data varies. And we can also clean the data, transform the data, like some attributes are in the scale of kilometers, some attributes in the scale of only hundreds. So we have to bring those attributes to the same level, like we have to normalize and standardize the data, and we can integrate with different platforms like SQL can integrate with mm, visualization tools like Power BI, Tableau. We have to so it can integrate with Python. So anything we can integrate SQL with everything and anything, and and SQL is a faster and more accurate. It gives you more accurate analysis, and it is used to manipulate and for data retrieval and manipulation. So businesses choose this because of these unique properties of SQL, and it is very easy for everyone to understand, and it is very easy to store the data, and the data integrity is also very good with SQL because when we define the when we are defining the table like name, place, and address, phone number. So we can define that name has only variable characters. So we can't, the SQL doesn't allow numerical values in the name. So it is a beautiful way. So that we can have the data integrity and data authenticity is highly kept in this SQL language. So we can't interchange, like I can't enter my phone number in a data name in my name field. So this is the beauty of SQL. So there are different types of SQL databases in the market. So there are a lot of databases in the market, and we are studying MySQL. MySQL is not an open source, but it is has the community edition to learn and to practice. So PostgreSQL is an open source, it's a free version, and it is a bit slow compared to MySQL, PostgreSQL. MySQL is so when we have big amount of data like 1 TB, 2 TB data, and different businesses use licensed versions of MySQL, and licensed versions have different features and different features. So the what the developers did, what they cloned MySQL and created another product called MariaDB with with licensed features. Like it's MariaDB is a open source. It's similar to MySQL, but it's an open source. MySQL is not an open source, but we have the community edition to practice and to learn the SQL. And SQLite is as the name says, it is a light. This SQLite doesn't store our files on server. It stores on our local hard drives. So as the name says, it's a light. So when you want to upgrade our servers, when you want to upgrade our databases, it's pretty easy to shift from SQLite to other databases. And Microsoft SQL Server is on another one. And Oracle is also an SQL database. So MySQL is developed by Oracle itself, and Oracle also has a server. Next, let's see the pros and cons of MySQL. So as you know, every software or every tool has some pros or cons. So the pros of MySQL is the community edition is free and open, but it is also as a licensed version. And MySQL is a old software. It has well documentation, and we can integrate with other platforms, and it performs very good. It is highly, and it is flexible. Compared to the cons,
It is scalable, a bit scalable, but when it is not that much of scalable. So it is the scalability issues are there with MySQL, and also the stable. There are sometimes when the data is huge, sometimes MySQL has some stability issues with poor performance when when we are working with the huge data like 1 TB, 2 TB data. So, and also yes, MySQL doesn't adhere to SQL prescriptive regulations. So the developers who wrote who wrote SQL has set some guidelines. MySQL doesn't follow some guidelines of those developers. So these are the pros and cons of MySQL. And let us see in the next class. Thank you.